The interest rate on federal loans for students has doubled. It went from 3.4 to 6.8%. And part of the reason why that happened is because of congressional inaction. Democrats and Republicans couldn't come to an agreement as to what to do about the interest rates. And Republicans were pushing for a market-based interest rate, which means that the interest rate can change. It's not a fixed interest rate, and Democrats did not sign on to that. Now, Joan Walsh did a great job covering this for Salon, but I actually think that her piece was strong because of the fact that she says that we're being completely misguided when we're focusing on something like interest rates. What we should really focus on is how education used to be very, very accessible and very affordable in this country, and then Republicans came in and screwed it up. Okay, so I have a specific example about Reagan, but before I get to all of that, I want to give you some really interesting general statistics on student loan debt. So the average burden for graduates right now is about $28,000 in debt. However, that does not include the credit card debt that they also have to charge because of the fact that they're living on a campus or whatever. So if you take credit card debt into consideration as well, they have about $35,000 in debt by the time they graduate college, and that's the average. Okay. California is one of at least 10 states that now spends more on prison than on education, which means a lot of money that used to go to public education, and that includes grade school and college, is now being taken away.
But to be fair, Anna, we got to imprison all those really dangerous pot smokers.
True.
Yeah, we've got to waste our money on that instead of giving our kids a decent education and a decent future. That's a brilliant move by California and many other states.
More stats. 2/3 of college graduates leave with some debt. 37 million Americans are repaying a student loan right now. It's unbelievable. So when it comes to paying off a bachelor's degree, it takes an average about 19 years to pay it off. The average cost is about $117,000.
Jesus.
The average monthly payment is $499. And of the $1 trillion in student debt, 60% is owed by people over the age of 30.
So it's not just for students, it haunts you the rest of your life. 19 years. Indentured servitude used to be 7 years. 19 years on average. $117,000. This is amazing. Look, the reason I care deeply about this, we're going to get into Reagan and all that, is because my dad got a free education in Turkey. If he hadn't, I'm an olive farmer right now. I say it often because it's the most important thing is that if you have an opportunity and you've done well, it's your responsibility as a decent human being to build a bridge so that more people can come to opportunity, right? But these guys, they're not about that, and you're going to see with Reagan and the rest of the Republicans, their idea is burn the bridge down after you. So how would my dad, an olive farmer who had nothing in southeastern Anatolian Turkey, be able to afford $117,000? If it happened today, you know, obviously that was Turkey, but it happened in the U.S., we'd be dead. We wouldn't be able to make it. He never would have gotten that education. I wouldn't be here.
Also, I mean, what do parents do at this point? I mean, you cannot save, especially with, you know, the wages that have been stagnant for so long. You cannot possibly save enough money to send one kid to college, let alone two. I mean, it's becoming like like 1% privilege in order to even have a family at this point. It's so expensive.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Mitt Romney would say, just go get it from your parents.
Right, right. God, just a quick side note on all of this. I just feel so lucky because I was the last graduating class that had the opportunity to go to a CSU for an affordable tuition, okay? People in my age group that didn't get a head start like I did, because I took college classes when I was in high school, so I got a massive head start. I graduated college 2 years early. People in my age group right now are saddled with that debt, and they can't give back to the economy because they can't buy a car, they can't afford it, they have these loans that they have to pay off, and they can't buy a house. In fact, I have a figure for you guys. Student debt reduces average aggregate car purchasing by $6.4 billion a year, and that's just the car industry. That's not even including the housing market. It's insane.
Yeah, and good luck trying to get a house with that giant debt you already have. Okay, so hit me with Reagan.
All right, so the UC system used to be the best system in the country in terms of higher education. UC Berkeley was one of the top schools in the country. And back in 1964, there was a free speech movement on the UC Berkeley campus. Back in the day, you weren't allowed to protest or talk about anything on campus that was unrelated to the school. So if you had like some political cause, you couldn't protest about it on campus. Well, the students decided, you know what, we want to be politically active, we want to protest. So they did did this massive protest that got a lot of attention. In comes Ronald Reagan, and at that time he wanted to be governor of California. And he thought, you know what, I can take advantage of this opportunity and appeal to parents. So what he did is he fearmongered. He basically campaigned and said, look at what's happening to our public institutions, okay? They're turning into propaganda, liberals are taking over, this is a complete and utter disaster, it's gonna destroy our society. So that, he ran on that platform and he won by a landslide. As soon as he was elected, all of a sudden he took the UC system, which was free, no fees, no tuition, and he changed it into something that would charge fees. And then later they started charging tuition in about the mid-1980s, okay? So I want to give you guys some numbers on that. So the UC system in terms of fees charged about $84 a year in 1956. Then in 1971, after Reagan, $600 a year. 2005, $8,129 a year. 2013, $12,692 a year.
Now look, we know that through time you have inflation, etc. But inflation is one thing. From $56 or $84 to $12,692 is totally different. And $84, yeah, of course, everybody can, pay that. Even in 1956. You put $12,692 a year on people, that's a hell of a burden, man. It was supposed to be a free education.
Yep.
It was supposed to be our way out. It was supposed to be a bridge. It was supposed to be opportunity. Reagan killed it. That's why the Republicans love him. Way to burn that bridge down after you. Way to go, Gipper.
Yeah, and just to clarify, that $12,000 is just for fees and tuition. It does not include university housing and costs of books and supplies and all of that. So when you're talking about the total cost of an education in California, if you're going to a UC, easily you'll have to pay about $20,000.